math wasn't my strongest skill beyond high school, so I'll try to make this as simple as possible. First, you have the numbers 10, 100, 1000, 만, and you should know all of these numbers very well before starting this video, because we're going to go up way higher. And instead of just looking at what these numbers are, I want you to focus on how many zeros each of them has. So 10 has 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you just know this pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, well, then you can actually figure out numbers very high. And the reason is because after you go beyond 10,000, you're going to simply repeat these again. You'll have 10만, so 10 10,000s, 100,000, 100만, 100 10,000s, so a million, and 1000만, so 1,000 10,000s, so 10 million. And the only one that does not repeat is 만. So then what do you do when you get to 10,000 of 10,000, so 100 million? Well, then you switch to the next counter, which is 억. 억 is 10,000, 10,000, so 만, if it existed, and that is 100 million, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. Now, if you're talking about Korean currency, about currently 1,200-ish, one translates to $1, then this is actually a very common number you're going to see with Korean money. So if you wanted to buy an apartment in Korea, you would probably spend several 억 to get it. So then how do we go further than this? Well, what would be after this? You simply repeat this pattern once more. 1, 2, 3. 10억, which would be 10 100 million, so that would be 1 billion, right? Right? Let me just check. Yeah. 100억 would be 100 of these, and then 1000억 would be 1,000 of these, and then before you would get to 만, you go to the next counter. So again, let's look at this. 만 has 4 zeros, 억 has 8 zeros, and the counter that has 12 zeros is 조. So you would have 10억, 100억, and 1000억, and then once you would get to 10,000 of 억, you would actually go to 조, which is one with 12 zeros. All it is, each time you add a new whole counter, you're simply adding 4 zeros. And every time you go through this system, you're simply adding one more zero. So if you were to do 10조, you can already know it's going to have 13 zeros, 14, 15. The next counter would have 16 zeros. So beyond that, after 조, you get the counter 경. Okay, so what is this number then, 경? Well, it's really big. It's 10,000 trillion. When are you going to ever need 10,000 trillion? Keep in mind, this is one, which I said is about 1,200-ish for $1 currently, as of the time of filming this video. If you remove 3 zeros from that to get the dollar amount you have about, 10 trillion or so. So that can be understandable as maybe like a national budget, or maybe the budget of multiple countries. So you might see numbers listed in 경 when talking about money. However, you will never use a counter beyond 경 when talking about money. The reason is, again, you can add 3 more zeros before needing another counter. You could go up to almost 10,000 times this number while still using 경. So that's going to be plenty for any amount that you would ever need to express in money. At least that really exists in the world. But of course, there might be times when you need to go beyond this. And that's also pretty common, not with money, but with science, biology, with astronomy. You will frequently find numbers that go way beyond this. For example, what if you wanted to count how many atoms are in the universe? So if you're interested in learning some really high counters, keep watching. If not, you should be fine just learning 경. In fact, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't even bother learning beyond this. 억 is going to suit you for any sort of beginner application. Let me clear the board. Okay, so 억 was 8, 조 was 12, 경 was 16. The next one is going to be 20, and that is 해, followed by 자, 양, 구, 간, 정, 제, 극. Okay, and so far now we've got 24, 28, 32, 36 zeros, 40 zeros, 44 zeros, 48 zeros. You can't even see this one. 간. There, I'll write that clearer. Most Koreans will not even be aware of these numbers. In fact, I've asked a few people and they've told me, some of them have told me they have heard up to he. Beyond that though, you're not going to find these in the regular knowledge of native Korean speakers. Anytime you see any number beyond this, it's going to also be defined together with it. But we're not done. There are much higher numbers than this. First is hanghasa, which is 52 zeros. This is actually from a metaphor in Sanskrit, I believe. It's from Buddhism, and it means sand of the Ganges River. So a really big number. The next, asungi, is also from a Sanskrit metaphor and means immeasurable number, followed by nayuta, which is 60 zeros, and that is another metaphor that means close to infinity, followed by 불가사의, which is 64 and means incomprehensible. Now, if anyone knows the origin of some of these as far as like Buddhism is concerned, please let me know in the comments. And finally, 무량대수, or just 무량수, immeasurably big number. Beyond this though, I've actually found conflicting sources. Some sources have listed one called kop as the next one. Other places I saw listed 대수, which literally just means big number, as the next one. I'm sure these are real. I'm just not quite sure where exactly they come into this list. So I'm not going to be including any ones beyond this in what we're learning today. But let me just give you one that's even higher than all of these. You might actually know this one. It's just googol. And how many zeros does this have? 100 zeros. So 1 with 100 zeros, 1 googol. But again, none of these are really useful. Just go up to kyung and you'll be happy. Okay, so what other big numbers do you know? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I hope this was fun, and I will see you again in the next lesson. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.